You are Locked On Syracuse, your daily podcast on the Syracuse Orange. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
So we're going to continue our discussion with players who are possibly going to make All-ACC on Syracuse for this season. If you recall, the two players who are most likely, I would say greater than a 90% chance, are Oronde Gadsden and Marlowe Wax, in part because they were the only two selections that made it in the preseason all-conference team. So now we're going to talk about four players who have a chance, certainly have a chance. Some of them maybe higher than others, but definitely have a chance to be all-conference for this upcoming season. Let's start off with the biggest name of them all, and that is the new starting quarterback for this team, Kyle McCord, 6'3", 220-pound quarterback, four-star transfer from Ohio State in his last year of eligibility. Last season in the Big Ten, he made the third team all-conference. So now he's coming over to the ACC after a 3,200-yard season, 24 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and nearly a 66% completion rate. Top 10 quarterback rating in the country. So all those stats and being a selection last year, it should guarantee him a spot, right? Well, listen, if you've been following this podcast long enough, you know my thoughts on Kyle McCord. I really like Kyle McCord, and I certainly think he has the potential to be an all-conference quarterback for this upcoming season, which would mean he has to be a top 3 quarterback in the ACC to make one of the 3 teams, because they're only going to take one quarterback per team. So he's got to be top 3. The reason why he's in this category is not really because of his ability. It's because he's got stiff competition, and there's only 3 spots available. Cam Ward at Miami was the preseason All-ACC selection, so you got to figure he's going to take one of the 3 spots. Again, these aren't guarantees, but he's likely to take it, right? You got Haynes King at Georgia Tech, who had a really strong year last year, and he nearly made the all-conference team, except, well, Jordan Travis and Drake May existed, so they took up 2 of the 3 spots. There's also Kyron Drones at Virginia Tech, DJ Uyunglele at FSU. Does maybe Cade Klubnik take a step at Clemson? The point being is that, can Kyle McCord fight his way onto an all-conference selection? Absolutely. I'm not saying that he can't. I'm just saying, is he as likely as Oronde Gadsden or Marlowe Wax to make All-ACC? And the answer is no. I think he will. I think he's going to sneak into that top 3 after a really strong year, but not as likely as Oronde Gadsden or Marlowe Wax to do it. So that's for Kyle McCord. It's possible, for sure. Next up, let's talk about Fadil Diggs, 6'5", 260-pound defensive end, a 4-star transfer from Texas A&M, top 60 overall transfer in the class of 2024. And in my opinion, he's the second best player on the team, even ahead of Marlowe Wax. But the reason why I say possible All-ACC is, well, in part, he was not a selection for the preseason team. And number 2, at Texas A&M last year, he had 4 sacks, which is obviously good. Like, we'll take 4 sacks. He also had 11 tackles for loss, which was second on the team. When you don't have gaudy sack numbers as a defensive end, it's tough to make these all-conference teams. It's not necessarily the ability of a player, but a sack is one of those flashy stats for a defensive lineman, where if you have a lot of them, you're going to make all-conference. So Fadil Diggs does the same thing he did at Texas A&M at Syracuse for this upcoming year. Will that be enough to make him an all-conference selection? That is the question. I would say maybe, because he's a great player, but the 4 sacks at defensive end, I think, will weigh him down when compared to his other competition that he's going to face to make an all-conference team. And for him, he's got to be one of the 6 best defensive ends in the conference this upcoming season to make it. Again, it's possible, but not as likely as the front runners, Marlowe Wax and Oronde Gadsden. Next up, we got Justin Barron, 6'4", 225-pound safety with just this year of eligibility left. He was an honorable mention selection last year. He made 90 tackles and 1 interception. And oh, by the way, he played, I believe, more than half the season with a broken hand. So take that for what it's worth. Barron is in this category because I think he needs to take a jump from what he did last season in order to make it. He's considered a safety. I believe each all-conference team will take 2 safeties, so that's 6 total. Is he a top 6 safety in the conference? Probably, but again with this exercise. Is he more likely than Marlowe Wax? No. Is he more likely than Oronde Gadsden? No. So I put Justin Barron on the category of definitely possible, but I want to see a step up before I say he's a lock to be an all-conference selection. And finally, this might be the biggest shocker of them all. And if you've been listening and paying attention, thank you very much. LeQuint Allen. LeQuint Allen, is he an All-ACC player for this upcoming season? Well, last year, he was second-team All-Conference. Okay, he was second-team All-Conference with over 1,000 rushing yards, 9 touchdowns, 38 total catches for over 200 yards, and another receiving touchdown as well. So he had a really good year. Really, really strong year in his first year starting for Syracuse full-time. With LeQuint Allen, it's very, very similar to Kyle McCord in terms of why I wouldn't say he is likely to be All-ACC. The competition at the running back spot in the conference is tough. Now, I do think LeQuint Allen is a top 6 running back in the conference, but there is a possibility that he's an honorable mention, that he's in the 7th slot because there's strong competition. Omarion Hampton at UNC is one of the best running backs in the country, if not the best running back in the country. He was first-team All-Conference last year. He's honestly an All-American caliber player. Omarion Hampton at UNC. Jaden Ott at California was the other selection for preseason All-ACC. He's at Cal. Obviously, Cal is new to the conference, but that's 2 running backs right there that are projected to be better than LeQuint Allen for this upcoming season. So now he has to be in the 4, one of the next 4 players. And there's Damian Martinez at Miami, who had a strong 2 seasons at Oregon State and was a highly sought-after transfer. Jamal Haynes, Jordan Waters, they were on the 3rd team last season at their respective schools. So overall, I think LeQuint Allen will make an All-ACC team, but he's not one of the 2 most likely players on the team to make it. So in short, in summary, the 4 players who can definitely make it, but not as likely as Oronde Gadsden or Marlowe Wax are Kyle McCord, Fadil Diggs, Justin Barron, and LeQuint Allen. And leave a comment below if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Do you think that one of those 4 players is a lock to make All-ACC? Leave a comment below your thoughts on who you think from Syracuse is going to make All-ACC for this upcoming season.